on the side as well. Today we are talking about Noah and the ark. Man, there's a lot going on in that story, huh? Just a lot of things happening there. And it covers chapters 6 through 9 of the book of Genesis. So rather than reading 4 chapters of the book of Genesis to you this morning, which probably would be good for you, by the way. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, how many of you spent that much time in the scripture? Don't raise your hands. I don't want you to embarrass yourself. Haven't had time for your devotional. So we're going to talk about Noah and the flood and what it means. How do we take this and apply it to our lives? What does this ancient story mean, for us here today in 2011? How many of you have seen the movie Bruce Almighty? Great movie. Well, the last time we saw Evan Baxter, he was being toyed with by Bruce, right? He was just being hounded in his position as a news anchor. Well, now apparently he's graduated and become a senator, and he's in the state house, and it's now Evan, right? Evan Almighty clip. Just a great show. I want to share this clip with you, and then we're going to get into our sermon. So how would you react? By the way, did you catch that? When he was scared, it says beginning of all wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. I know that was lost on you as well. I understand. So how are you going to react if God shows up at your house one day, maybe not with a pile of wood, but with this task for you? What would your react? Might be a little like Evan, right? Might be a little just like, what on earth is going on here? Well, this account of God having Noah build an ark is outrageous. I mean, isn't it really? I mean, think about it for a minute. Where does that happen? It's outrageous because, first of all, we don't like to think about God talking directly to human beings. We like to think about God, appearing in, spirit form or whatever. But direct messages, I mean, I don't normally hear directly from God as in, Trey, I need you to do this. Sometimes it's a feeling, but not, it's outrageous. And probably we don't want to listen even if he did, right? It's outrageous because we can't imagine a boat big enough to carry 2 of every living creature plus his family. Maybe there were just a lot fewer animals back then. Right? We can't get 2 of all the animals that live in my yard, on an ark. It's outrageous because we have issues with thinking of a huge tsunami engulfing the earth and wiping all people. That's not our image of God. It's just outrageous. And it's outrageous because the story carries with it both very good news and extremely bad news about God, depending upon where you are in your walk. Good news, bad news. The bad news is that God is a God of wrath who cannot abide our sin. But the good news is that even his wrath points us towards his grace. The story of Noah tells us that long ago, God wiped out all the life from the planet except for one man and his family and selected pairs of earth's creatures. And while we don't know precisely how many people perished, it was a lot. And it was bad. It was a Holocaust. And thus, we're face to face with this wrath of God, a subject that we don't even like to talk about. We Methodists try to subcontract the message about God's wrath to other denominations to remain nameless. But Methodists did not always avoid the subject of God's wrath. One of John Wesley's invitations to people into the Methodist movement was, "Come all who wish to flee the wrath to come." Now, if we minimize one side of God's character, our witness is lopsided, and we do not then proclaim the full counsel of God. Paul says in Romans 11:22, notice how God is both kind and severe. Now, this morning, in order to try and balance some of that, I want to explore 3 different aspects of the story of Noah. First, I want to talk about the